Hey, it is Trey Bolin, and I am here with Origin Stories. I'm so excited to have Joe share a little bit about his journey into entrepreneurship and his discoveries along the way. So, Joe, can you share a little bit about who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely, Trey. Thanks for having me on. So I've been an entrepreneur most of my adult life. So about the last 20 years, totally accidental. Didn't plan on it. So I'll give you the highlight reel. I was buying a trash can in Walmart when I was 22, and I met a guy and he hired me. And then 6 months later, I said, "This is cool, but I kind of want your job." And then he took me under his wing, and I didn't realize at the time how special that was. Let me say that.
Mm,
From there, I didn't end up taking over that company, but we ended up opening a company just like it. And I was part of that founding team. I built all the ops, ran all the ops for the first 5 years. That was a family business. Uh, Family business can be tough. So I left. I went out on my own. I opened two other companies. One was in the fitness industry. So it was a fitness facility. We did a variety of things. And then we started an online t shirt brand that I'll spare you the whole story, but basically, over the next 9 years, we transformed from a t-shirt company online to a wholesale manufacturer, doing textile decoration and shipping stuff all over the country. And that was pretty awesome. And then at the tail end of that, I guess, I had the opportunity to go back and help my parents in that company that I'd helped to found. And I just kind of came in with a different head, after
mm.
running my own businesses. And over 3 years, we just did really great work in their company and helped them create this vehicle to retire with and kind of ride off into the sunset. The uh, the key to the last 7 years for me was being introduced to EOS. So
Mm.
that really was the pivotal moment that helped us transform that printing company, and we were able to grow about 250% over a 3-year period, and just
Wow.
created a truly turnkey business. We ended up selling that company in 2021, and didn't really plan on it, but life kind of served it up on a platter for us, and we jumped at it. So we also ran on EOS and my parents' company. I hired an implementer there, and he's the one who kind of put it in my ear and my heart, really, to do this work. He pulled me aside after our first session, just said, "Hey, man, when you're done here, you got to do this." So for the last few years now, I've been an EOS implementer, helping other business owners and their leadership teams just get more of what they want out of their companies. Whether it's freedom or time or working out people issues or profit,
Yeah.
or honestly just running a better business and living a better life, whatever that means to you, I'm going to help you do it. So that's the highlight reel. That's
That's
like
awesome.
20 years in 2.5 minutes.
I don't know if I can sum up 20 years in 2.5 minutes, but you did that so well. One of the things that I really like that you said in the beginning was someone took you under their wing in the beginning. Can
Yeah.
you share a little bit about what that looked like? What did he do that really was so special that maybe you didn't realize in the moment, that maybe you could share with us that might inspire some people how they could be wing taker unders, how they
Yeah.
could do that same thing?
Yeah. He what a good guy. His name was Bill Pickett. So I should put that into the universe because he passed
I
away
love it.
14 years ago, and his legacy should continue in the
Mm.
world. He's such a good guy. So uh, I called him literally. I'd been working there 6 months, and I just called him and I said, "Hey, this is really cool, but I want your job. Like, how do I do that?"
Yeah.
And looking back, like, how, I don't know if bold's the right word, but maybe ignorant.
Well, you knew what you wanted, right?
Yeah,
And you went for it.
he said, "What are you doing tonight? You want to come over for dinner?" And I mean, I could have went a lot of other ways. And I went over and had dinner with his family, and he said, I actually want to retire in about 5 years. And, if you get on this track in school, you'll have the degree and then you can work under me. And it just kind of set off this cascade of events. And we just started to spend more time together. It wasn't anything, there was no secret sauce. It was just hanging out with a guy who spent his whole life getting good at something, getting great at something, took a risk, bootstrapped this thing up into a really successful program, and just kind of being around him, see how he thought. He audited a ton of my papers in college. And the one thing that I remember from that, and I still use this to this day, is I would come out of these things after he'd mark my papers up, and I would say, so what you're saying is I have to be a more complete thinker, right? I would ramble, and I still ramble in conversation like this, but that kind of transformed into my business life where, brevity is huge, having complete thought, being able to really crystallize something. And I didn't really get good at it then. It was several more years before I started to get okay with it. And I had other mentors that came into my life and kind of taught me those things. So that's I guess the biggest thing. Here's the other thing. He let me go. So yeah, like he didn't fire me, but he let me go, and it was over a quarter. And I was like 24 maybe, and I was now like educated.
Yeah.
And, like I knew stuff, so I had an opinion. And I was saying, hey man, like I've been here for all these years, like you're bringing these guys in, we're making the same amount of money, like I need a quarter more. And he said, all right, let me think about it. He came back and said, I can't do it, and I'm like punctuating things. And I said, all right, well, I got to go then. And he said, these were his exact words. He said, go with my blessing. And at that time in life, I thought, I cannot believe this guy's doing me like this.
Yeah.
I literally just said that same thing to someone today on the phone, to one of my teams that I coach, an integrator.
Yeah.
And I told him that story. I said, you're getting to the point where it's like, this is how it is. It's like, you don't want them all. You don't need them all. You have to be so clear and focused on who you are as a business, what you do, what your offering is, who the right people are, how you want to serve your customers, how it works in the financial model, all of this stuff. And if there's somebody that is just wanting more and more and more, and it doesn't work for the greater good, then you got to be able to say, go with my blessing.
Yeah. I think knowing when to let go, right? And I think the human thing is to hold on and to stay where it's comfortable, and then we can never get to that next place. I had an experience very similar to that, where I was working at a library and I had gone as far as I could go without getting my degree. And it was just like I could stay there, but I would never grow. I think it's really interesting that we get let go or fired, or however you want to say that. And then it opens the door to the next thing, because I would have stayed there forever.
Yeah. I love that about entrepreneurs in general. Right. And to me, I've been in so many different, like we were in mental health, children's residential treatment. I had a fitness facility. I was in, textile decoration. We've had a vacation rental company, like I'm a business coach now.
Yeah.
And it's like all these moments, like you were talking about, like pivots, or, like
exactly,
like these moments that have happened to kind of change your trajectory. And all of those things, there was a moment where, to me, it's like God opened a door, and he didn't open it all the way. And I maybe didn't see everything in there, but I thought, I need to go that way. And it's just, it's assessing risk, it's prayer, it's, being willing to take a chance on opportunity. And, this never settle kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And not in the like hustle culture way. Like I don't really get down with hustle culture, although I'm a grinder. Like I think everybody knows me, would attest to that, but it's not like a ego thing. It's not like this badge of honor thing. So I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry.
Well, I think something interesting that you said was that entrepreneurs were always looking for an opportunity or open to
Oh, yeah,
opportunities. And I've shifted so many different times. How do you know when something's a good opportunity, in your opinion?
yeah. People that aren't close to me, like see me in the day to day, may think I just make crazy bold moves. I'm actually kind of neurotic when it comes to analysis.
Mm,
So I have to have a lot of information. So if something is interesting to me, um, I can start to see it, and then I think one of my gifts has been able to like see the future, so to speak.
yeah.
Like I can dream it up and I can dream it big, and then it's just like kind of working it back, like on what's the next step, So uh, how to actually do those two things. Like I look at the long term, and then
Hmm.
I like start to prove the concept. And I personally learn best. I find people that are doing it, and I make them be my friend. And then I drain all their wisdom from them, and then I kind of go from there. And then I'll back that up with research. I mean, Google's your friend.
Yeah.
You can find all sorts of stuff. There's chat forums. There's all sorts of ways. So I think every person's different. For me, it's analyzing. Is this a good idea? What's the problem here? What's the gap we're trying to fill? What's the offering? And then if it does it all make sense? And then at the end of the day, am I willing to bet on myself to actually execute? And I don't know. So that's kind of been my process with the startups that we've done.
Yeah.
At this point, it's a lot more of finding the right people. Right before you, I just got off a meeting. I'm helping some people on a new business venture, and it's not for me to be in there doing all the things. It's like me to see the big picture and
Hmm.
provide guidance on the right structure, and the right order of operations, and things like that.
Yeah. How did your experience in the past help you to become a certified EOS implementer?
Oh, I got so much entrepreneurial trauma, Trey. Like, look, we can talk about the shiny things, and the handful of wins, but it's
Yeah.
the like 18 or 19 years of like just swimming. And a lot of times
Hmm.
it's like swimming in a dumpster fire when I look back. But um, the things that I think, let me try to put it into a couple of bullets. I think one is I've always had this growth mentality, like
Mm.
whatever it takes to win. And I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid to sound stupid. I'm not afraid to just ask you the most fundamental things that some people might think like, oh, I don't know if I should ask that. Like, I'm going to ask that because for me, those are the things that are going to help me always get better. And I think to help other people, like you inherently have to have that type of curiosity and humility about you. So that's what led me to running on EOS back in 2017. So we self-implemented for a few years and had great success. And then I hired an implementer, and we had about the same amount of success in half the time. And those, I don't know, 5 years or so, ish, like I was immersed in EOS. Like
Mm.
it just changed our life. So I've never seen any other operating systems. I just know that this one made sense to me. It was simple. I've done it. I've sat in the owner's seat. You know, I think that's one of the things that, a lot of us EOS implementers have been business owners. And that's just different. Even if you're, the number two, but if you don't have skin in the game, it's just different. And it's not a bad thing, but it's just different. And I think being able to relate to those business owners in their darkest times, and in their happiest times, like they have a different level of skin in the game. And I think that is one thing that just the feedback from my clients that has been helpful. Like I've owned businesses. I've started them. I've closed them. I've sold them. I've had I've lived the great years. I've lived the down years. I know what it's like to be on an island and have nobody to talk to about all this stuff. I've used these tools to come through the other side. They've helped our businesses. They've forced me to look inward and apply those things personally. So, my implementer was Peter Winnie. If you haven't had him on, you need
Not
to
yet.
Oh my gosh. Peter Winnie is just a beautiful human being. He's freaking hilarious too. So he was my implementer. After our focus day, he pulls me aside and he's like, look, you're like a visionary. And whenever you're done here, and you'll be done here, whether it's 10 years or 10 months, I know you'll be done here. You need to do this. And I just laughed at him because, like, in my head, I was like, I'm going to buy this business. I'm going to 10X this thing. And so whatever.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years go by. None of that stuff happened. And I found myself, we had exited our company. I'd exited the other company. We had sold some investment properties. And I was sitting there for the first time in like 17 years with time. And, I called Peter up after a couple months. And I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but I'm kind of nervous. And he said, like, what are you nervous about? I said, I live in rural Michigan. Like, who's going to hire me out here? And he said, if that's what you're worried about, just sign the papers. And, so I did. And, the rest is kind of writing itself in history. But I think those are it. It's just, I've been the owner. I've had the highs and the lows. I've been alone. I've built great teams. I've made a ton of people mistakes, like I can own the stuff that they're owning, and then I can teach it to them because it changed my life. I understand it. And I think I can, I'm able to communicate it well so that they can get it and apply it too.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that I love that you're saying is that you've had the highs and lows. I think it's so hard for me to relate to people that haven't been an entrepreneur or that haven't had the struggle. When you kind of inherit something that's just kind of going off, that's great and awesome, but it can be really difficult for people to relate to. And the fact that you've had such variance and so much experience, I know that it lends itself to being able to coach better because you've been there and you know what that person needs to hear. I remember in the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned being a part of a family business. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I'm sure that there are highs and lows when it comes to working with family. What do you think is one of the best tips that you can share on how to be successful in a family business?
That's tough. So there's coffee in here, but the family business question makes me want something a little stiffer. I joke, right? Family business is hard. Look, the relationships that we have in a family are so different than what it takes to run a truly great business. Like, you have to have clarity, you have to have alignment, there has to be accountability, there has to be discipline, there has to be people that like truly want and have the capacity to do the things that they're doing in the day-to-day. And when you bring in family dynamics, all of those things get a lot blurrier. So that's not a bad thing, Trey. I love working with family businesses. I have a client right now, and I'm sure they'd give me permission to talk about them. I won't use their name, but there's like 7 of them on the leadership team, and they're all related. And we just had our annual session a couple of weeks ago, and it was absolutely remarkable. One of the things we talked about, like, to be successful, like, look, you got to decide. Is this how we want to do business or not? Are we doing business for the company or are we doing business for me? And if you can't just look yourself in the face and answer that question, it's going to be kind of tough to go forward. Because if you're truly all in for building this great company, now all of a sudden there's something greater than us. And if we believe that, then we can get through anything. if we are humble and we're willing to be open and honest, and we're willing to be vulnerable with each other, and we're willing to give each other some grace, if you're willing to do those things, I mean, that's honestly to me what it takes. And those things are really hard with a family because you got a lifetime of history.
Yeah.
And it's not, again, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just how the dynamics of those relationships work. So I love it because for the people that want it and they're willing to do the work, it's not easy, but I love walking that path with them because we can have those conversations, and the question that we asked, a couple weeks ago is like, do you really want to do this together? Because it's okay to say no, but if you
Yeah.
do, if it's a yes, and you all mean it from your bellies, then we can get through anything. So we just got to lay it all out there. We got to be open with each other. And we got to be honest. So I got to be able to let you speak from your heart and be 100% selfish about what you need, what you want, what you desire. And I have to be able to just take that in and let it go, right? And just receive it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to solve it. We just have to create this space where we can have this type of trust and communication. And if we're all working for the greater good, we can get through anything that comes towards us. So that wasn't bullet pointed. I'm sorry, but that's
okay. I love that you're speaking from the heart because really that is a lot of what family business is. I come from a family business where my dad has a business, my mom has a business. I spent time helping both of them as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult. And there's so many nuances to a family business. I appreciate that insight and just a way to help someone maybe think through family business, because I do think that it's heart. And I do think that can be really hard to speak openly, honestly about the things that are going on because there is all that history. So I like how you kind of touched on that. I am curious, as an EOS implementer, do you have any businesses that you like to work with more than other businesses? Maybe because of your past experiences, or maybe because of the dynamics or growth? Just curious.
That's a great question. And I am I'm going to call myself a high functioning visionary. I might be giving myself a little too much credit with the high functioning part there. So I love the variety that I get to experience being an implementer. I'm blessed to I've never had a client that I thought, oh my gosh, I can't wait until we're done. I truly am always working with people that I really love. So that's been great. I love family business. I love when succession and legacy come into the conversation. I love being a part of that because it's hard and it's such a transformational moment, and there's like a passing of the baton. And so I love that whole family business dynamic. I love Christian business owners. And it's not like, I mean, I have secular business owners too. Like that doesn't matter to me, but somehow I ended up with, I have maybe 8 or 9 like Christian business owners. And I love it. Like, I don't know, it's a different kind of dynamic. I find myself being able to help in some different ways, but then also like for me, it's kind of like iron sharpens iron, it's like, it's like they push on me a little bit too in that way. I like that. Industry wise, it doesn't really matter to me. I have clients in so many different industries. There's none of them that I wake up and think like, oh, gross, I don't want to do that, because for me, that's just what you do, and you have to be great at that. I don't have to be great at that. I have to be great at coaching you, saying, hey, you said this isn't working. Are you sure it's not working, or are you not working? Like, I got to be that guy,
Yeah.
Like, I get to work outside the system, and see things that you can't see in the system, because you can't be part of a complex system while you're, and at the same time, understand that system, right? So I get to work outside that. I got to be good at that. I have to be great at teaching. Like I have my entrepreneurial story and experience, but that's not what people hire me for. They hire me to teach them the EOS tools, right? EOS is just, it's a complete system of practical and simple business tools with a proven process. So I have to be masterful at teaching you that and getting you to apply it. And then I have to be a great facilitator so that, 90% of the time, the answer is right here in the room. Like all the people in the room, they're the experts in their business. So for me, when it comes to industry, it doesn't really matter because I'm not the one making the widgets. I don't need to know how to do that. I just have to do the coach, teach, facilitator thing. So that doesn't really matter. Geography. I mean, I'm in Frankenmuth, Michigan is where my session room is. So I love people that come to Frankenmuth. I have quite a few that come here. I do some travel inside of Michigan. I have Grand Rapids and Detroit and, up a little north of here, like Midland area. And then Southwest Florida. I ended up with there is a group of people down there that I love these people. We do great work together. So I'll go to Southwest Florida, like Sarasota down to like Fort Myers kind of. Other than that, like it's that the way you think, if you've got issues, if you've got issues, you're willing to be open and honest, you're willing to be vulnerable, you're growth minded, you're more afraid of the status quo than you are of change. Those check the boxes for a good fit for me.
Yeah. Sounds like you help a variety of people. And as I'm thinking about you helping lots of different entrepreneurs, what would be a takeaway that you would want an entrepreneur to get from this conversation? An encouragement or maybe something that would motivate them, a tip, any advice?
Oh boy. My advice is usually not worth a lot, Trey. So let me think. What would I want to say to an entrepreneur?
I know it's a big question.
I know, and there's so many things, but I think if I'm an entrepreneur, if I'm an owner, I'm a founder, I'm a visionary, and I am a visionary. And one thing that I think took me a while to learn was if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And when you're a visionary, that's really hard because sometimes you got to go slow so you can go fast, which means I got to slow myself down. I got to breathe, I got to be patient. And all of these things make our visionary skin crawl. So,
do you see me physically like, oh, I am in that season right now of having to go slow, and I'm like a jump in risk taker, put it all on the line. And it's so hard when it's not up to me anymore.
Yeah. And geez, oh Pete's like, just focus. Son of a gun. Just because you're good at what you do doesn't mean you should open a donut shop. Okay. And this is one of my lessons, right? Mental health, fitness, screen printing and embroidery, vacation rentals. Like, look, I got out alive, but, the people that I see run really great businesses and then get the life that they wanted. They have found a way to have an extreme amount of focus, an extreme amount of discipline, and know how to say no, probably more than they say yes, to be honest with you.
I think that is such good advice. And as we're wrapping up, how can people get in touch with you? Are you accepting new clients? What does it look like to work with you? And those were 3 different questions. So.
Okay, how do they contact me? I'm smiling because before you said I've had people give their phone number, and I was like, oh, I'm going to give my address, and I thought, don't put your address out here, silly. That's not wise. So to get a hold of me, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there, Joe Stewart. I'm the black and white picture. Oh no, I got a new AI picture. It's super fun. Yeah,
I'm a photographer, and you just told me you're using an AI picture.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Didn't think that one all the way through. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. Joe.Stewart at eosworldwide.com is my email. If you want to get a hold of me directly. I'd give my phone number, but quite frankly, my phone's in do not disturb like 90% of
Right?
the time. So if you
I
send me
know
an
LinkedIn's the
email,
best place, I think.
yeah, LinkedIn's good. I'm not on there a ton, but like if you really want to talk, like send me an email. My lovely wife is my practice manager. I didn't give her any credit in this. All those things that we did, like she's the one who was like really holding it together. She was the integrator, right? Like
Yes.
without her, none of that happens. So she needs a lot of credit on that. She still holds my back end together. So send me an email. She'll get us some time together. So I happy to have conversations with anybody. If there's a company that's interested in EOS, I will do a 90-minute meeting about EOS, absolutely free for you and your leadership team. That's no strings attached. You know, I'm not like a seller and a closer and things like that. And those would be the best ways. Email, LinkedIn.
Awesome.